in case of Linux environment, in the real-time scenario, everything is a Linux environment. So we should know about the Linux commands. So we don't have any graphical user interface will be there. So we will get the Linux environments, how to log into the Linux boxes, how to work with Linux environment, any activity which you are doing in the Windows, how to do the same kind of activity in the Linux. So we have to know about the Linux. So first thing in our training, we have to learn about the Linux environment. So the next thing is we will go with scripting. Scripting is very important. So if you are writing any script in the Windows, that we are going to call it as a PowerShell. And if you are writing the skill bash scripting in Linux environment. And also we have a Python scripting. So these three scripts, they will ask in the interview question. Do you have knowledge on the scripting side? Means we have to tell that I have good knowledge on the any one of the scripting, you tell it. So then they will ask the questions on it. So if you don't know the scripting, clearly tell that I'm not aware of the scripting, means they will not ask any questions on the scripting. But once you selected for the organization, you have to write some script, means in that case, we will not tell that I don't know the scripting. If the work is assigned to you, we have to do that work in the real time scenario. But for the interview perspective, if that is not required that scripting, we don't require. Okay. So next thing is we have a managing the code. What are the developers are writing the code? So we have to manage centrally because one person is working from the US, one person is working from the India, one person is working from the different geographic locations. So how will our code is managed? What are the development work that was writing by the different developers? How the code sharing will be happened between the different developers and across that code, how the shared between centrally. So we are using centralized source code management tools in the real-time scenario. The tool's name is Git. Okay, these are the tools we'll be using in the real-time scenario. But we are not learning each and every tool. We are learning any one of the tools from these tools. But if you heard this terminology like Bitbucket means, don't get confused. So Bitbucket is nothing but they are using for source code management, storing our code only for the project code. So next thing is we have a build automation tools. What are the code that was written by the developers? So they are able to build the code in the local machine, but that is not enough. We have to make it as a centralized one. Centralized is nothing but everybody in the team can see the how the build is happening of your project. So for that one, we are using Jenkins. Okay, so next we have the configuration management tools like Chef, Puppet, and Ansible. So these three tools will come under the configuration management tool. If you want to configure your server, I want to set up the C++, I want to set up some file structures, I want to set up folder structures in my server. So without manual interaction, I want to go with automation solution. In that case, we will go with this configuration management tools. And we have containerization tools. So Docker is very famous in the DevOps tools. So if you know the Docker and Kubernetes, we can easily survive in the DevOps side. So Docker is one of the most powerful containerizer tool. So everything they will bind to the containers. So if you want to carry one product from one place to another place, how we are carrying the containers in the ships, same thing here also in the real-time scenario. So if the particular application is not running on the particular versions, so what we can do, we can go with a containerized application solutions. So that we can go with Docker. So finally we have Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is a cluster management. So if you want to deploy your application and if you want to expose your application and that application, how the network rules will be defined and how you are managing your applications in case of 24/7 without downtime. So that we can see in the Kubernetes. Okay. So next finally,